Well, hello, my friends. How are you today? I'm doing good, enjoying summer. I'm glad it started, getting some things done, and all fun projects and whatnot. I was thinking that I usually start off by saying, what do I want to talk about? And I decided to change that up and say, what am I thinking through? Because that's really what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to think through things without being too jargon laden or without, you know, if I make a blog post and put in 20 references, you can hit the hyperlink and look at the references. So I'm not going to try to do a Jamie Wheel or a Daniel Schmachtenberger, even if I could and I can't. I'm not that smart. Or maybe I'm smart, but I haven't done that much study. I haven't researched it enough to have all the information at the tip of my tongue. And generally, I do better in conversation with people than I do, talking to a camera. I'm still not really used to this. If it were in a scripted way or a dramatic improv or comedic improv, I might do better. But I'm really trying to think things through. So I engage with something either in my reading or on the internet or with friends, and makes me think. And then I start to think it through in my head, and I'm having this internal dialogue with myself. And sometimes when I talk to the camera, I'm just imagining that I'm with you or some friends. And I even do that when I'm riding my bicycle. I feel like I'm talking to one of my friends. I don't know if that's insane, if I've got some mental problem, but that's what I do anyway. I just imagine I'm talking to a friend and I think things through. And I imagine a conversation I might be having at a cafe or a pub somewhere, or at somebody's house, or at some event with some nice people. And I hope to get back to doing that soon. That's what the Cospelon thing is all about. Reaching out to the community here and in a broader way to people in the world, and just doing that thought process where you go from a very big, wide angle to finer grain understanding of things. And you look at things from a scientific point of view, and also from an interpersonal or personal point of view. How does it affect me and my community? And what's the broader picture here? Is there any science behind what I'm observing or thinking about? What are the implications, first, second, third order, and so on? Unintended consequences. Can I imagine something new, like 0 to 1 instead of 0 to n, like Peter Thiel says? And that's a good book, by the way, whether or not you like Peter Thiel or not. It's a good book. It's not, I wouldn't call it original, but it's good business advice, and it kind of frames the world in a useful way. I've read other ones, but it's a quick read and it's very easy to understand. I think it's probably still helpful. So 0 to 1 instead of 0 to none, can you imagine something else? Can you create something else? And what we have is a world of parrots and a world of imitators and a world of recreators, Fast and Furious Part 362, franchises. And that's okay for entertainment, but we live in a world where we need some serious innovation on a social, political, and economic level, not just a technological level. And technology is great, materials science is great, medical science is great, going to the moon is wonderful. All of this stuff is fantastic. I wouldn't want to curtail it at all, but we're going to have to figure out a way to do it in a more sustainable way. That's just the way it is. It has to happen, And if not, we're going to be in deeper and deeper trouble as the days and the years go on, because we do have some some issues. The human beings, Homo sapiens, affect the environment. They impact the environment. How could you not know that? If you're like a crazy, hyper conservative libertarian or something, I just don't understand how you don't understand that everything we do on this planet has a profound effect on the systems of this planet, ecological systems and climate systems and so on. And these are highly complex things, just like human society is complex and human culture is complex. And where Peter Thiel, I think what he maybe does understand, but what I would say is the most profound and important technology we have is culture. So try to get your head around that one. It's difficult. How do you create a new culture? How do you do that within yourself and within your community and move that forward? Cultural innovation, because we can do things individually or in concert with one another to create things, but without the culture that underlies it, that structure, forget about it. The right things aren't going to happen. The good things aren't going to happen. That's my opinion anyway. So I primarily wanted to share something that I was listening to when I was working out this morning. And as you guys know, anybody who follows me probably knows that I post Jim Rutt's show quite often. It's a podcast, and he's a curmudgeon, but a good one, a nice one. He's a Game B guy. If you don't know what that is, I'll put a link in the description of this video. He's part of that whole group of sense makers, the sense making crowd. Rebel Wisdom and, Schmachtenberger, Consilience, and all that kind of stuff. Jordan Hall and whatnot. But it's a big community. Those are just kind of people at the center of it that I've paid attention to for a while. But it's a big community. It's a lot bigger than you might think. And I think he's a good guy. He's coming from the right place. He's an old baby boomer who's done a lot of things. He's got lots of war stories about business and whatnot. But he comes from a culture that is the kind of culture I came from, so I relate to him. And I hope you don't just write him off because he's a curmudgeonly baby boomer. And when I say curmudgeon, I don't mean that he's, bitter and annoying. I just mean that he's got an edge to him, a confidence about him. And he's got some fairly firm opinions. So what? Everybody does, right? He talks to a lot of really interesting people. And the conversations are good. He doesn't have anything he's defending like Sam Harris, who I also appreciate, but sometimes he's so defensive it just annoys the shit out of me. So, it's like, shut the fuck up and let the guest talk, Sam, please. Ask your damn question. You can defend your position in a paper or a book or whatever, but Jesus. And sometimes the arguments go nowhere. So when they're not going anywhere, you got to stop and move on. That's my opinion. And Jim Rutt's good at that. So he gets to the point, doesn't belabor things too much. If he tells a war story, it's fairly short and sweet. It's not about him, it's about his guests. And I appreciate interviewers that make it about their guest, because why are you having on a really interesting person if you're going to talk over them? It just annoys me. So anyway, Stephanie Lepp, she did this project, which I think is incredibly creative and interesting and just kind of blows my mind. It's called The Reckoning. Is it The Reckoning Project? What's it called? Yeah, The Reckoning. It's really It's called Deep Reckoning. And she makes these deep fake videos about Kavanaugh and Zuckerberg and people like that. And what she does basically is she researches quite a lot. You have to do this because if you're going to write what somebody else is supposedly saying, right? And up front, it's a deep fake. Okay, it's fake. Everybody knows it who's watching it. So it's an art form. It's not trying to put one over on you. So anyway, she imagines what they might say if they were apologizing for something or a mistake, a reckoning. You know, if they thought things through and they thought, oh, gee, I made mistakes here and there, and I'd like to come clean about them, admit where I made mistakes, and tell you how I might move on or whatever. Kind of an apology, basically. And I think all of us have moments in our lives where we think about how we might, want to apologize for something we did or reckon with it, think it through and say, wow, gee, I wish I'd done things differently. If I went back, I would, and I'm sorry for anything that I did that kind of mucked things up then. That's a wonderful thing to do. If you're going to practice forgiveness, and things like that, thankfulness, you might as well have a reckoning now and again. I think that's a good practice to have. Think about what you're reckoning with. Go ahead. Don't be afraid. And if you feel like it, go public with it. Tell somebody. Tell your friend. It's more than an apology. It shows people that you thought things through. You understand where you made mistakes, and you're committed to doing better. And I think Sam Harris talks about that a lot when he's talking about contrition among our famous, high-profile friends. So, sorry, I keep hitting my watch on this desk. Annoying. So anyway, that's a really interesting podcast, and you can also go to the Deep Reckoning website and watch those videos. Mark Zuckerberg talking about how he might have done things better, where he made mistakes, and so on. Brett Kavanaugh, that's a good one. And it's a very compelling story. So again, it's artful, because if you're going to put your words in somebody else's mouth, you better give it a real honest, sincere, earnest attempt at understanding what they might say and how they might feel. If you're going to, inject your own values into that. But it's a good thing. I think it's stimulating, and it might even make some of these high-profile people think about it. I don't know. I would hope so, but, And of course, then they could come forward and have a reckoning, but in their own words, and it might be totally different from what she imagined. And I would expect it would be. But that's a good thing, a good discipline, I think, a reckoning. I'm gonna engage in a reckoning today. And sit down, think about it. Maybe you want to even go to your friends and make it public. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I wanted to think through today. This was more of a recommendation, but from now on, I'm going to talk about what I'm thinking through. And then I'm going to hope that somebody out there actually comments and wants to engage with me on something. I'm sure my friends won't, because they'd be embarrassed if some other friends saw that a friend was like supporting my dumbass. Friends are like that, friends and family, right? So, but maybe some stranger out there might want to help me think things through. So if you do, click like and subscribe, and please comment, and I'll make an effort to do better in the future with these videos. So thanks a lot for watching. Take good care. Brilliant tea. Out.